Good evening, folks. Welcome to Come On the Hoop Celtic. Keith here with Mick. We are going to talk about the game later on. Hello to Facebook, to Twitter, and to YouTube. A massive thank you to everyone for contributing to the channel, helping us get to 10,000 subs. Happened quicker than we expected, Mick, but you know what? I'm delighted that we have a good little fan base going, and I wouldn't say a good little. I wouldn't say a small fan base. It's at the end of the day, that's 10,000 people in Celtic Park. That's what it was like today.
No, I'll say first of all, Keith, congratulations to yourself getting the 10,000 subscribers, and obviously I've been on this channel a few times, so thanks very much for everybody subscribing as well. So it's a great milestone to get. So thanks very much, and congratulations to you, Keith. Obviously,
That's it. We went through the journeys of obviously a disappointing season last season when we jumped on the channel, and oh jeez, it was like a civil war when we went onto this channel. But good times is happening at the moment. We got a result today. It was a would you say, a messy game, but we got over the line, like very similar to Aberdeen the other night. Just couldn't get a string of passing going, and then we got into it. So before we go into the game, who do you want in the next round?
to be honest, any games, it doesn't matter who we get. It's any game, isn't it? Like if we get Rangers, if we get any other team, whatever, like you're kind of nearly expecting to get Rangers near like a semi-final stage, aren't you, at this stage? Like, so, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, we're not going to know till tomorrow, obviously, who we get. So you just kind of have to be prepared for anything in the draw. So you have to get any. Like, we've got two. Like, no disrespect to Alloa and Wraith, but they're obviously considered two easy rounds for us. Obviously, what happened against Alloa, different story. But you can never be expected for an easy round in a cup tie. Like every bit of form was out in the cup rounds. Like you might as well played a conference team there today, and they still could have beaten us 1-0. So cup football, all form was out the window. So it doesn't matter who you get.
Well, talk about individual performances. Obviously, Joe Hart only had one or two saves to do, but he was a bit nervy on the in the first half, and the ball kind of went to the corner flag. I don't know why he ran over to get that ball. Could have just let it go.
To be honest with you, Keith, never mind an individual performance. I think it was more of it was a team performance. And I'll be honest with you, before you asked me like how I thought the game went, I was very disappointed with the team performance today, and I thought we were quite disrespectful to Wraith at times. It was the team showed up and as if they could just play around these guys and not expect a challenge from them. Like Joe Hart going out to the corner flag and playing it back to the defender when the defender was basically playing as the goalkeeper at one stage because he was basically behind Joe Hart. I was like, lads, we're playing at home. We're in good form. But that Celtic went out there today, and obviously Postecoglou made a few changes, but he still went in there. The team went in there as if like, let's just show up and have a bit of crack here. But
wasn't too happy with his press conference, wasn't he? Not, he was like,
no, and I'm delighted with that. I'm delighted you mentioned that as well, because I was watching I watched the conference one or two times before we come on here, and the first thing he said when he was asked the question, it was just like, that's all he said. I'd say he absolutely blitzed those guys when he went into that dressing room. I thought they were very disrespectful to Wraith. They didn't play football. They were trying a few different things. They weren't like the team that we've seen for the last few weeks. Obviously, we had a bit of a hard game against Aberdeen during the week, but what you've seen against likes of Dundee United, not Dundee United as such, but against like Rangers, Motherwell, we were putting Rangers goals against these guys, and then all of a sudden it took us a while to get goals against Wraith. Now, fair enough, Wraith came out and they were going to play an offensive game because they knew an offensive game wasn't going to work against us. But it's still, I thought we were very disrespectful to them. If the players that were on that pitch, they could have just went out, played the game that they've known they've been playing for the last 6 months. And that's what happened. Well, that's what we've seen today. It wasn't a nice game to watch, in my opinion.
Folks, I have a projector. That's the reason why he's probably like, what is he doing? I have a projector, so that's why I'm constantly looking over that way, just to let you know. A massive thank you as well to everyone, all the comments as well. Okay, you're right. They can't, like, Wraith went with a plan. There's obviously a lot of turmoil going on at the moment at their club with that good witty situation and stuff, but they could have had a penalty. they could have had a penalty, and it did look like a stonewall penalty, to be honest with you. I know,
No,
I
it
know, like
absolutely
we're
did.
on a
It
Celtic
absolutely
channel,
did.
and it should have been a stonewall penalty. But you
Oh,
know
it was
what I was annoyed about? Jack and Mack is about 5 minutes later was on side. It was
yep.
clearly on side, like. And what's his name? Michael Stewart said it, like.
No, there was a lot of decisions there that could have went either way today. To be honest, like now in fairness, like we were a better team in the day, no matter what. Like no, like if there was one decision went their way, like that penalty, they could have got that. And they still would have had to score it. Like it doesn't mean like if they had got the penalty, they were going to score, and all of a sudden they're the better team. But at the same time, it was one of those games you're looking at, and from our point of view, like we were 90% the better team there all day, and anything could have happened there. If they had scored that penalty, they could have put 11 men in the line, and then all of a sudden we're chasing the game. But I don't think that was ever going to happen.
True. Well, you don't know what happens in cup football, but there was a nervy start. Like, you know, I seen the second half, the first like 3 minutes, like they were pressing us. I was like, oh, jeez.
Well, look, you can say what you want about that game today, but everyone's asking at the end of it who was the man of the match, and Jota was the only man of the match there today.
Let's put it straight, right? Put it straight, right? Greg Taylor, since the start of the new year, has been good for Celtic. He was shy the other night against Aberdeen. Like the whole team were poor the other night, I thought. But Scales, he was good today. He really was solid. And you know what? That goal he took was a cracking goal. Like that was a striker's goal there. You know, like that was a Tom Rogic finish as well. He could say attacking midfielder goal, but he brings something different to what Taylor brings. And you're saying to yourself, what do you do? Because Taylor, like he has good games, but it's the final third. I know he's a left back, but the hands football we play, you know, it's wing back football, and you're looking at Scales and you're saying, right, we need to put Scales in there. So put in the comments below, do you agree that Scales should be played more, or is it just more of a, you know, put him in a cup game, get used to it, like?
Yeah,
what do you think?
Well, first thing I'll say, Glassmania, fair play. Like it is happy liquidation day. Thanks very much for that one.
We'll talk about that closer. No,
we'll get that later on. No, you're correct and right. There are two different styles of play. Like Taylor, the last couple of games, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Like obviously, as you say, Keith, Aberdeen the other night was a bad game, but every player had a bad game the other night, so we did. It was very, very hard to watch from Celtic point of view. But Scales, he brings up a game forward. He plays forward. He just moves and gets into positions for up to. Now he does play very high. At the same time, he can get himself caught out. If he plays that high, he can get caught out. You can see a winger getting in behind him, and he's trying to track back. If he tries to play up that high the whole time, he's going to get himself in trouble. Now, the goal he scored today was absolutely brilliant. He's got something that Taylor hasn't got. He's got a shot there. He's got an iron goal. Great thing to have. Taylor likes to sit back a little before. He doesn't like to get too high up the field. Scales can get himself caught out there. He's still only trying to get into this style of play, but he's making a good point for himself there. But
100%.
I think the two of them, it's a very hard one to pick. If Taylor plays the way he has played for the last couple of games, and you see Scales the way he was playing today, it's going to be hard to pick between the two of them. It's going to be very hard to pick between them.
Do you pick Scales on Thursday night, or do you put Taylor back in the mix then?
Well, we're going to get into that in a little while, obviously. I know your opinion on the team that should be picked on Thursday night. In my opinion, going on the way Taylor has played in the last couple of games, I would pick him. I want to see Scales in a lot more. Obviously, I think he is a good player. Obviously, from watching League of Ireland a good bit as well, and seeing the way this guy has played. No offense to anybody that has no League of Ireland experience, but I've seen this guy play. I think he's good, and he's very, very physical. There's a good tackle. I'll talk about this again. That what he's done. Scales is one to be watching in the future, but the way Taylor knows Celtic, the way he's played in the last while, I'd probably put him in Thursday night. I think he's the first choice left back at the minute. No
problem at all. You know, I would, if Montgomery was still at the club, I would have said Monto to play on Thursday night just to kind of give him the spice there. But regards to Welch, I thought Welch played all right. You know, he did get a bit of a tackle into the L signs, like something like WWE, but he got back up. Carter Vickers had a good game, I thought. Right back, Jesus, trying to think of Ralston. He kind of went off the grid, to be honest, in the game.
It was kind of hard to pick any individual performers there today, to be honest, Keith.
Besides Jota.
Apart from Jota, yeah, because everybody seemed like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do. It was like they're playing a team in pre-season, and they don't know how to deal with them. Wraith caused problems for Celtic today, because this team was like, right, how are we going to deal with the team that's top of the league in Scotland? How are we going to deal with this? And then all of a sudden, we're like, how are we going to deal with a team that's a couple of divisions below us? So it was kind of like, it was a very, very mixed match game, and neither team knew how to deal with each other. But Wraith just went out and just played ball, to be honest. And like I said, we kind of disrespect them a little bit at times, because we tried things that we'd never try in an important game, like if it was a league game, or if it was a Europa Conference game obviously coming up, or if it was just a game against Rangers or Kilmarnock, or not Kilmarnock as such, but any big team that comes up against us. We didn't deal with it that way. We didn't approach it that way. So I don't think we had our eyes in the game that much.
Subscribe to the channel, folks, if he's there, and if he's on Facebook, share it as well, or even pop on and say hello. As I'm trying to get through the comments, I'm not reading them out, I'm just pinpointing them and look at them, and we'll go through them. Yeah, there wasn't an out-and-out performer to be a. I thought Jack and Mack has played pretty decent today. Thought he held up well, but at the same time, sends against a championship team, you know. But look, he was unfortunate not to hit. He did score, but he obviously hit the crossbar, and that was an offside. Then he did score. You know, his confidence is getting there, and I think he's going to be a valuable player next season. I just think this is just a point just to kind of getting used to domestic football and get him a few run games, and then next season he's going to be the number one striker. I know people might say, "Oh, Kyogo this, Kyogo that," but you know, we have so many games as Celtic. You know, you can't play your strongest team in every game. I know Ange tends to do that. You know, it's called rotation, and that's why I keep mentioning rotation. Like today, obviously you bring Scales in, Ralston start because Jovanovic wasn't is not ready. According, he has a dose of the corona. I don't know if it's true or not. Welch came, played. You know, Hatate played well. Beaton came back in the mix. Beaton was a bit mixed. You know, he's passing. You know, some of the passing in the second half.
He meant his penalty. He meant his penalty. He definitely meant his penalty. Like he meant for the keeper to save and just think it over. It's a great penalty.
Yeah, but he did give a good contribution for one of the goals towards Jota for the assist, I think. Absolutely. But okay, Beaton is a safe haven. I know people disagree in the channel, but he's been there that long enough. He knows what the crack is. Kind of similar to what you said with Taylor. He's been there and he has the experience to slot in. You know, he does have a mistake in him. He's not perfect like every footballer, and you've seen it in the past, like Midtjylland and against Rangers, and then obviously you got the red against Dundee. To be honest with you, he was furious. I don't blame him. I would have done the same as well, as much as I hate saying that. But even though we were going through a midfield crisis, we didn't have Callum was back. But it was good to see that Callum didn't have to actually come on. You know, rest him for Thursday. You know, get him in the mix, because there was a stage where he was taking the stuff off and going to come on.
Yeah,
in the game.
No, you can see that on the bench as well. There was a lot of movement on the bench at one stage. Now, I was kind of like in the mindset about it was a couple of months ago we were watching the dead rubber game in the Europa League, and Ange was making changes. He shouldn't have played Kyogo.
I was talking about the 3 points for the Dundee game, folks, not for the 3 points today.
But yeah, but again, with those games with Ange, like, but people are saying like that did he learn from those changes that he shouldn't have played these players there and there again? But you have to remember, before Christmas, he didn't have that depth. He didn't have the boys, the Japanese lads in before that as well. He was missing lads through injury, and he's after putting these lads in. It was great to see McGregor not having to come on. Obviously, it was great to see Gucci back as well, coming on off the bench as well. That was a
look, he got a sniff. That's the main thing. And you got to see the two Japanese boys play as well at one time.
But the thing is, we've got that depth now that we can actually make these changes, and we can actually put I wouldn't even say second string lads in, because Ange has got a serious headache every week now, because all these boys are fit now. The only one that's not fit at the minute is Kyogo. If Kyogo comes back in, who does he play?
Someone said in the comments about how do you feel about a fit Turnbull? To be honest with you, like, David Turnbull is going to be a cracking player for Celtic.
I hope so.
It's very hard. It's very hard when you have like a Tom Roddick.
he was coming back in. Remember when he was playing like every single minute of every single game at the start of the season for the first couple of months, is because there was no backup there. People were saying, why is Turnbull playing every single game? There was no cover for him, and he had to do that. And he was scoring goals, and some of the goals he was scoring were absolutely fantastic. We still have got some players to come back in as well. Like, we still haven't got a 100% fit team. If these boys coming back in, we've got literally two teams. So we've got two first teams when you think about it.
Yeah, but regardless of like left backs and right backs, we don't. Like defensive, I still think we need it. Still feel like we need another centre back. I know Jullien came on today, first time in 14 months, and he got a standing ovation. And it's good to see him come on, and he wanted the ball as much as he could. And he nearly pinged out a cracking ball, a long ball as well.
I kind of disagree with what you said there, like saying we haven't got enough depth in the wing backs, right? Like, you've got four players there that can play like either side. You've got Juranovic, you've got Taylor, you've got Scales, and you've got Ralston. They can play either side. Like, I know.
Yeah, well, the right side, we don't. Irrigady's gone on to Belgium. So let's look at for if Ralston was injured, like what would have been playing Welsh there.
Yeah, you can see Juranovic has played that side. When Juranovic first came in, he played that side instead of playing his natural left hand side. Like you were saying there 2 weeks ago, Keith, that you would have started Juranovic in the centre of midfield. So he's a flexible 100%. Player. Do you know what I mean? So like that guy can play that side. So I think we got like two players in either side that can easily kind of cover those areas. So even when it comes to Thursday night against Bodo Glimt, now by the way, they're not going to be any pushover either. We can easily have a bit of depth on either side to play a game Thursday night, a game against Sunday.
6 key players are gone. They've sold, I know.
They're also pre-season as well. But just as you said there as well, it's great to see Jullien back getting a couple of minutes under his belt, but I wouldn't consider that enough time under his belt there.
I felt today Andrew's kind of under pressure to bring Jullien. I know that sounds a bit weird. People are going to... I have a feeling that he was under pressure to play him. And because the game was dusted, he would have looked like a fail. You can never bring him on, to be honest. But I can't see Jullien playing on Thursday night. I could see Jullien being like a 20-minute, 30-minute player for some games.
Well, here's a question for you, and to put this out to people watching as well, commenting. Is Jullien going to be part of Andrew's plans? Because he's been in the bench for a couple of times and he hasn't got featured. He's been brought back and he hasn't even got a sniff. So is Jullien actually part of Andrew's plans? Like, Welch got in there today ahead of Jullien. Like, today was the day that Jullien was going to get started.
Sure,
I was watching the game there at the game in Celtic Park a few weeks ago, and I was watching Jullien in front of me, and Jullien looked as fit as Michael Jordan did when he was playing Chicago Bulls basketball. He looked like he was playing basketball, to be honest, on the sideline. But is Jullien actually part of Andrew's plans, or is he actually be put under pressure? The way I see it at the minute, I can't see Jullien as a regular Celtic player anymore. Like, I think he's had too much.
I want him to be a regular starter player because you know what to contribute. Like, he can like up a few corners and get a goal. You know, he's a beast. But as I said, he's had to be now for just over you're nearly hitting 2 years. Like, 48 months, and he hasn't played. And even before that, like that season, like he scored a couple of goals there and then. But I know he's a centre back. We weren't even keeping clean sheets in the league that season as well. But
he hasn't had a pre-season or anything.
He hasn't had a pre-season like a Giakoumakis. Like, people are talking about Giakoumakis here. I think Giakoumakis will do well at Celtic. I really believe he's going to be an unsung hero. I just think he has the appetite to just chase down the ball and, you know, push back and take one for the team, kind of like what Sutton used to do, kind of come back as well. Like, but I know it's a mad comparison, but people are asking about Mikey Johnson.
I feel sorry for the guy. I really, really do. That guy has had no luck in a Celtic shirt. The guy's only 24 years of age, and he's had no luck at all. I'll be honest with you. I think he will be shifted out at the end of the season, one way or another. Like, he's had so many chances, and even when he's been fit, he's tried his best to kind of make it an attribute to the team, and it hasn't worked. But even when he's trying his best, he just gets injured. I can't see it. He's not going to last in the Celtic shirt much longer. And I don't get me wrong. Like, I hate to say it about any player, but this guy is going to have to be shifted out. He really is. I'm sorry to say it.
Like, I said this on the channel, I said this to you like the other night, 2 weeks ago. I said, give him an 18-month loan, give him 18 months, give him 6 months to kind of settle into a team, and then give him a full season at the whack. But obviously, the transfer window's gone. Surprised he didn't go on loan. He should have went down to Aberdeen or Hibs or something, like, especially with Martin Boyle gone. Should have went to Hibs. I just don't feel he's good enough. When you look at the likes of, when you got Jota coming on, and he's just literally box office football, and you got Mikey Johnson that he is trying, but it's just he tries to showboat. He's like a downgrade version of Aidan McGeady.
He's trying too much. He's trying way too much. And no, don't get me wrong. Like, you could see it in his face though as well when he went off, when he was going down the tunnel, and he was near in tears. And we hard went out to the lad. In fairness, like it was so hard to watch. But I think he even knew himself. He was like, "This is my last chance, and it's gone," because he never gets a start. And then he got a start against Wraith Rovers in the cup, and he didn't take his chance today. He went down injured again, and as soon as that happened, he kind of knew, it's like, this is it. This is game over for me.
He's definitely trying too hard, to be honest with you. As I said, like you see him when Rodgers introduced him to the senior team, and then early parts of Lenny's part when Lenny came back again, he was scoring goals, and he scored a lovely goal against Ross County. Came off the bench, like, think 2 or 3 minutes up a Dingwall. He's got a cracking goal, but it's just he has the quality, but it's just his head's not in it. I just think he doesn't suit Celtic. Doesn't, like, you look at the players that's ahead of him. You could play Maeda there, you can play Jota there, you can play Kyogo there as well. It's just sadly Mikey Johnson.
He can have no complaints though, in fairness, because he's had so many chances. He's had a lot more chances than a lot of players have at Celtic.
Like someone's saying there, don't like Mikey Johnson off. Remember Ralston, but that's the difference is Ralston didn't get many chances. And he went on these loans, and it wasn't really much scouting report. Mikey Johnson needs a loan move. If he doesn't get a loan move, I want him out of the club. There's that 20% of me that believes that he can come back from a loan and make it at Celtic. As he said, he's still in his early 20s.
You can see by the way his face was, like, it was nearly that he was told today that if he doesn't make an impression or if things go wrong, that he's kind of out the club. So you can nearly say like that if he, as you just said there, Keith, that he didn't go on loan moves. Ralston went out on loan. Ralston had to come back. Same way we can compare that to Oyer. Oyer went to Kilmarnock and had a big loan move and come back as a big player for us. Ralston has done the same. Mikey Johnson never went on loan, but he was injured the whole time as well. But if he went on loan now, it's probably the best time to do it. Going on loan is last chance.
You look at the likes of Christie and Oyer went on loans to different clubs, and like I was watching it today, and I was like, holy fuck, he can't even take Wraith Rovers on, and that's championship, the team, and we're saying put him to an Aberdeen or Hibs, and he might not be able to do it there as well. Probably make him was worse, but I don't know. I just think he's. It's like a tale that kind of similar to Lewis Morgan. He just couldn't cut the mustard at Celtic. I know obviously Mikey's had to come through the youth system. I just want him gone, to be honest. As I said, there's a portion of me that's like, do send him alone. That's the worst. Give him an 18 months somewhere. But I don't know if anyone wants to take him for 18 months.
I'm sure there would be a club, like as I said there a couple of weeks ago. Motherwell would have been a great team to go on loan to, because Tony Watt was out of there. As you said, Hibs would have a great one to go to as well, because Martin Boyle was out of there. So a great opportunity to go to these certain places on loan. But he obviously wanted to try and get into the Celtic squad, even though he knew what caliber was in front of him, like Maeda and Giacomakis and Kyogo's in there as well.
Even when Sinclair was there wasn't a chance he was getting in there,
No, come here. Look, I'll give him credit as well. Credit where credit's due.
It was that bad where he was playing Laxall left wing at a point. I know Mikey Johnson was injured at a portion of last season, but you're picking Laxall ahead of him. Like, that's how.
But I'll be honest with you, Keith, I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch today. I think James Forrest was the worst player on the pitch today. James
was, and I'll admit that James was. It's just he had a chance in the second half where he was in the box, he could hit the trigger, and he
three times. I know exactly what part you're on about. He dinked by 3 players, and then he played a 2-yard pass to Beaton, I think it was, and just like he's like, "What are you doing? Have a shot." I'm like, he's just passing the trouble on to somebody else, and everyone's like, "Forrest, what the hell are you doing? why did you make that run and just go to give the ball away when there was no opportunity there? At least pass back out to the other corner and we start again. But he just got rid of the ball and went back in and tried to hide behind the trouble that he made. I thought he was the worst player on the pitch today. I know you're a big Forest fan the whole lot, but he just hasn't been at the races for the last year and a half, to be honest, Keith.
He hasn't. Like, he's getting the odd goal in 1 in 12 games that kind of give you the belief that he's doing it.
And I said it 2 weeks ago as well. He just doesn't suit Ange Ball. He really doesn't. He tries to make too many runs instead of doing the passing game.
Ian says to me, James, he's still playing Rogers brand of football. No crosses, just keeping possession. I agree with him. Completely agree.
Can't disagree with that.
Like, I just feel like James, he just puts his head down and then he doesn't do that clinical outside of foot shot he used to do. It's like he's afraid to take a chance on, and it's like very similar to Taylor. They're just
what was his plan? He got the ball at the corner flag, right? Then he bet by one just at the edge of the 18-yard area. Went inside, bet another man. Then went in, bet another man, and next thing he's on the other side, or he's on the other half of the 18-yard area, and makes a pass. I said, what was his plan? Like, he could have 3 chances to make a shot. He would just get a shot away, even if it doesn't go anywhere. If it goes over the bar, grand. If it hits a defender, grand. But what's the point of giving it a 2-yard pass to somebody that's in no position at all to make any type of shot?
Well, now, James is saying that Ange made the correct subs at a perfect time. To be honest with you, he was kind of forced into making that change for Mikey Johnson. Like, you look at the other night, he could have changed it around against Aberdeen earlier, and he didn't. But I don't know. Like, obviously, it did change the game, but Jota was outstanding. I just thought Jota really had a hunger for the game. He pulled his.
Jota went on there and had the time of his life. So he did. That man went on and had an absolute great game, had an absolute baller of a game. He was having the crack. He was taking around as if they weren't even there. He was basically playing like Ghost. And then all of a sudden, he's, in my mind, man of the match. Like, that was the best substitution in probably Celtic have made in the last 2-3 years. The guy went on and just basically changed the game completely. He couldn't be touched. And again, this goes back to my fear the point I made a few weeks ago, that this guy is not going to be a Celtic player next year.
Like, folks, I'm not attacking James Forrest. I'm a massive James Forrest fan. There's only one time I did attack James Forrest, and that was after when we got beaten by Rangers. It was 2-1 when they went ahead of us at the time in the league, and I felt like he had a parachute on his back, and I slated him. I absolutely slated him. He's a good servant to the club. He deserves a testimonial. Like, this guy's obviously got to come through the youth system, and I remember his debut goal against Motherwell. He lobbed the keeper and all. He made an I think it was Stewart or Craigan. I think it was Craigan was centre back for Motherwell, and he lobbed the keeper. And I remember my uncle saying to me, "This guy's going to replace Aidan McGeady on that wing," and I laughed. I was like, "I don't know about that now." And then obviously he came on and done the job, But I like James is after having some crucial goals for Celtic. He's an unsung hero in my eyes. He really is. But maybe it is his time he moves on. As someone said there, he's probably still living in the Rodgers era of style of football, and let him move on. Like, if it's a case that I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to stay in Scotland or he's going to just see out his contract and retire, because he's still only 30 odd, like 30,
Those injuries will probably kill him though a little bit as well. Like, it's going to hurt him a little bit. And as you said there, like, we're not attacking James Forrest at all. Like, he has been a great servant, and he's been one of the top players.
Deserves the recognition
the last couple of years. No, like, I'm not saying that he's been an absolute terrible player of Celtic. I'm just saying for the last year and a half, like, obviously he's had his injury problems and everything. He's just been a bad person to watch for Celtic at the minute. He's trying these different things, and it's frustrating to watch. And it's bad to say. I hate to say that it's frustrating to watch, but it really, really is. It's not
a fake where he's going down the wing and he's hitting off a player and it's going for a throw in, or it's hoping for a corner. It's a case where he gets the ball on the wing, instead of him going directly down the wing, he's trying to cut in the last minute, and he's getting past one, and then he's second thinking the shoe and try getting past the second. It's the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think today was prime example. Today was prime example. It was like he cut in and he was doing what he usually did, and next thing he's constantly looking up for a pass, and next he cutting in, and all of a sudden he's looking for the pass. But at the same time, as soon as he gets that ball in that corner flag, there's 5 or 6 lads looking for passes. Jamesy, pass. And all of a sudden, when he gets to the point where he can't run anymore, he's like, all right, who can I pass to now? But there was 5 lads looking for a pass 3, 4, 5 seconds ago. And then he has to realise that. Like, that's why he's not getting that many starts and the whole lot. Like, he's great cutting down that wing. He's great cutting inside. And even tried to play him on the left-hand side to try and see if that works. But it's not working. Like, he's not playing. His Ange ball is not suiting him.
And you got the likes of Karamoko coming back, which we need to see him play before he goes.
I'm hoping we do.
Yeah, because Karamoko can be a talent in himself. I mean, and Ben Doak. I was kind of gutted he didn't come on today. I've seen him on the bench, and I was like, I would have loved to see Ben Doak shred a new one. But like, this is a guy that's going to be something for the future. I really believe, and I think he is going to be the replacement for James Forrest. You know, has that little, you know, has that kind of look about him, like, you know, don't fuck with me, I'll skin you in 20 pieces, like, you know. And I like it. I like Doak, you know, even when he came on against Dundee, you know, even against Rangers, he had a good game, like.
Yeah, again, with Doak, we haven't seen a whole lot of him, but you can see that he wants to be there. You can see the celebration after the.
He's a 16-year-old boy. I honestly thought it was just a little, like, you know, a jammy little kind of put into the squad, because obviously before Christmas we had a few players out. I thought it was just like, you know, a one-hit wonder, like that guy that came off of Kyogo. We haven't seen him since.
Yeah, but it's like a 16-year-old playing for his boyhood club. Like, you know, it's what you want to see as well. Like, the 2 games that he played, he came on against the United, last minute goal, come on against Rangers, beat them 3-0, and he's straight up to the fans, loving every single minute of it. So he knows he's going to love to be there the whole lot. But again, like, when it comes to football and all that, like, and as much as I hate to say it, money talks the whole lot as well. But with players like that, it depends what agent he has. The agent could be in his ears, I'll get you this much money, I'll get you to go to that club. We've seen this happen so many times with a lot of our players, especially our younger ones, and he could be another victim to that as well.
I don't think so. He could have been one of them, but if he didn't, like Dembele could happen. Like, as I said, everybody's calling out for Dembele to start. Like, you have
another injury-prone player though.
Yeah, he is injury prone, but we need to get him playing. Like, if we want to try and make money off this guy before he go, like, that was our prime example. He's gonna go in the summer for free. He's gone in the summer. Like, his attitude, like, even like, I just don't think he's gonna be at Celtic any longer than the summer. And it's sad to say, but it is down to Neil Lennon not picking him as well. You know, as well at the same time. I know Kenty gave him a few games last season towards the end of the season. But James Forrest's career injuries, it's sad though, because Jamesy, you know, he has come up in the big games, but I just think he has 1 year left in his contract. I think this is not his last season, but you won't see much of James Forrest playing as much as he used to. And it's like he's still only 30. Like, it's just injury upon injury. Like, it's like an average of 8 games he gets an injury, and he's out for like 7 to 8 games after. But like, look at last season, majority of the season he was injured. And the only highlight was when he came back towards the end of the season for us. Like, that's it. Joey Dawson, that's the guy who played against St. Johnson. You know, he was unfortunately not that the ball got cleared off the line last minute and he was celebrating. But Joey Dawson, yeah, this is the guy I think we got from Hull. But yeah, we're too sentimental as a club to guys who we consider one of our own. Players staying longer than they should. Ex-players are always being linked back to us. I agree with you, Owen. I completely agree with you. Like, look at Fraser Foster's the prime example. Like, he's been with
Paddy Roberts,
you know. I don't have a video on the whole Paddy Roberts thing, but like, you know, I think we are very sentimental because that's the affection we have with players. Like, and that's why we're looking at Jota now and we're like, sign him. You know, I made a point last night in the channel, like, who'd you get? Like, if you had only one choice to pick between Jota or Carter Vickers, everybody's going saying Jota. Like, today's Jota, but you know, we have a solid centre back there, Carter Vickers, and you know, you start from the back. You know, like, I'd pick Vickers over Jota as much as I love Jota. I just look as a defensive, like last season, defensive problem. I just think with Carter Vickers, he snapped Starfelt out of it. He bailed Welch out of it a couple of times today. So I'll have to go.
Look at the thing that Starfelt has done. Like, he's Starfelt for the last 6 months he was terrible, and then now all of a sudden he's a decent player, because like, I think Carter Vickers is much to attribute to that as well, because Starfelt, we haven't really complained about that much in the last couple of months.
Yeah, and that's down to what's going on in Lennoxtown. They're proven as a system as well. Like, you know, like some players come into these clubs and they don't settle, and you know, like
Still think he's missing something, Keith.
We're very
He's still,
hypocritical. Like when they have 2 or 3 bad performances, we're on it.
he's
But I
still
just
missing
feel
something that you mentioned a while ago. He's missing a goal. Starfelt, he's
he is
missing a goal
missing a
big
goal.
time.
He's just missing that goal. Like, and he was unfortunate to score that goal at Ibrox. But like, he's building confidence, and I'm sure he'll come in. He'll play on Thursday night, and he'll be confident. Like, you know, the rest is good. But like, as I said, I just don't rate Mikey Johnston. I just feel like we're living on this ego that he's a youth academy player. He deserves more chances, and he's after getting too many chances. You know,
we can't really say that about Johnston. To be honest, we were like that. We don't rate him. It's one because we've tried to give him so many chances.
I don't rate him for the last 2 years.
Well, no Celtic fan can rate Mikey Johnston first, right? Because he hasn't had that many chances. Right? Like, actually, in fairness, he has had that many chances, but he's always been injured, and every chance that he's made has always been a bit of a kind of cameo role more than anything. Or even times when he has started, he's been taken off because it's been bad. And now the times he started hasn't been that many. So I don't think Johnston is going to go to Celtic. Because he's the injury prone is what's killing him. The amount of injuries is going to halt his career, and you can see in his face today when he got taken off, is just like, right, that's me done. And he was obviously warned beforehand. If you go in down injured or you have a bad game, you're gone. And as much as I don't want to kind of say that as a bad thing or anything, that it was putting the child or the kid, whatever, but it was obvious in his face that he knew his career was done.
I don't think we need a left back, to be honest with you. Like I think my left back were actually all right. I know we haven't played much Bolingoli. He's like, people underrate on Bolingoli as much as he fucked up a part of last season. He came in, done a decent job in the 3 games he played. We have Montgomery that's on loan, that's going to develop, you know, for the rest of the season. With Scales in there, we have Taylor. You know, like, maybe we do need a European left back where I could see where you're coming from there. That has confidence of building up the way. That's more established. That probably is about 28 that can do it. But we'll see what Ange comes in the summer and see what he can do with regards to left back. But I can't see us getting another left back. You know, I really can't see us. As I said, I think Urugidi going out on loan now, there's a chance that team can buy him if they want, which I found shocking with that deal. But I want Urugidi to come back to Celtic. I just think there's something there with him. I
think James Fury there, he loves a bit of volley, does he?
He loves volley. Yeah, that's it. Well, look, we'll keep talking about Mikey Johnston, but
well, feed the bear when you're ready there. Just let us know exactly what examples you have there, mate. Right?
And that's it. But look. Congratulations to the girls as well today. They beat Rangers 2-1 in the cup as well. Like, I only got to watch the first half an hour of it. But like, look at, they done well against them. It's a tough game. Like, it's obviously Glasgow City, Celtic, Rangers, and Hibs up there for the title every year. So it's tough. But look at El Alonso's doing a good job. He obviously won the League Cup this season as well with them. And the girls football gets very I don't think it doesn't get enough media attention. It should. You know, they're a professional team. You know.
No, it definitely will. Like, and it's again, it's like, congrats to the girls today. Like, beating Rangers like 2-1. I watched the game myself. Well, we got to see the last half an hour of it, and they were kind of backs to the walls. Like, Rangers, like, as much as I hate to say, obviously, Rangers have got a serious team there in the girls squad. Like, usually, obviously, we see Glasgow as the best team in the women's league, but the 3 teams are obviously going at it as well. And there's more sponsorship after going to that league. And to Fran Alonso, great job what he's doing there at the minute as well. So I'm delighted to see that they're getting the result. Obviously, a cup game today. I was hoping that was a league game, to be honest. Kind of get them catching up. But I know, as we've seen what happened in the English league with the women's game is obviously after getting a lot more recognition. So I'm hoping it's going to be the same in Scotland as well.
Yeah, well, hopefully, because I know, like, I remember watching the League Cup final when they were playing against Glasgow City in Fairhill. I watched that, and obviously Hayes scored for us. But this comment here saying that we top teams don't don't carry any passengers in the squad. I disagree. Every team has players that are just not performing. Look at United, they have players that are not performing for them and that. They're trying to shift off. Like Forrest, I think Forrest, give him to the end of the season. I know he's 1 year left in his contract. Give him to the end of the season, and then we saying him. Mikey Johnson needs to go. James McCarthy just doesn't suit Ange's style of football. Simple as that. He's comes on, does a job there and then, but doesn't suit it. Sorrow, question mark. I think Sorrow need a loan move for a season or two. Send them on loan.
He was still brought on in the last few minutes of certain games, and he could cause you a problem. He could. The thing with Sorrow, he could. 2 years ago, we thought Sorrow was the replacement for
Scott Brown
at one stage, and now we see him now as a liability. And this guy comes on, and even with 5 minutes to go, say if he's trying to kill a game out, this guy can cause you a problem within 3 or 4 minutes. And he's only on the pitch, and next thing we're in trouble. Sorrow definitely a journeyman.
The only thing about Bolingoli is he's like, remember when his fourth game against Sarajevo, and he just couldn't defend. He was good at attacking, he's good wing back attack, but when it came to actual defending, it's just shocking. Panic balling.
Say what you want about Bolingoli. Bolingoli's only going to get bad press for one reason. Like, Bolingoli could be the best player for years.
Bolingoli probably had one of the best performances against Rangers at Ivory Box, that 2-0. Probably one of the best players on that pitch that day.
Bolingoli could be the best Celtic player of all time, but again, he's not going to be recognised because of what he did last year.
100%. Barkas, okay, it's criminal that he is collecting the wage and borrowing like 20 grand a week. He's collecting, and it's criminal, like, an actually criminal. Like, I know when he was at Athens, he had man of the match Champions League performances in there when AK played Bayern Munich and stuff like that. Pulled out like 13 saves in the Allianz, but like we need to shift him off. It's just a disaster that he's even still in there, and yet he's just been stubborn and won't take the pay cut to go back to his old club.
Look, just terminate these guys' contracts. Just terminate the contracts. Simple as that.
Just terminate the contract. So terminate. Right. Let's look at this. Right. Bolly was 3.2 million. Right. Barkas was just around 5 million, and then Yet was 5 million. So that's 13 million. You're terminating. Now, if you were to milk it and try sell these lads in the summer, even take 4 million back off the freedom.
I know, but just at this stage, I would just be terminating contracts. They're not going to be in the setup. They're basically kind of taking up room in the dressing room. Just get rid of them. Just take the hit. Seriously, just take the hit. Like, if it comes to the summer in some of those situations that nobody wants them, straight away they're going to still be in the setup, and they still have to be on the training ground. Just get rid of them. If you don't want them, just get rid of them. Terminate contracts. We have the money to do it.
See, Topic Talker said it's difficult to just get rid of these guys because nobody wants them. It's mad to just let's see, hold on. Someone said Keith. What comment did I miss here? Hold on. Jesus. Hold on. I just see Keith. But you're looking at a batch of players and you're like, oh, let's just terminate them. Like, how embarrassing as well as a club. Like, we're clearing out 4 or 5 players, and not even like they should turn around and say, right, give them 2 or 3 weeks of pre-season training, and if no one's coming in for them, just terminate the contract. Then at least you've tried.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's only so much we can try with these guys. Like to be honest, we can't try much more.
Anthony Ralston was a prime example. I didn't have faith in Anthony Ralston to change it around,
But you see with Barkas now, like, we're not going to be able to send these guys out on loan. Yeah, he won't go out on loan. There's no way, because nobody's going to want these guys. If they went out on loan, they'd be playing for like Troy United, to be honest.
Let's talk about the atmosphere now. It was absolutely lashing rain over there. I don't even know the attendance. I think the attendance was about 28,000, to be honest, which it looked like it.
25, I thought it was.
About that, and then obviously the Green Brigade section was covered over, which it was obviously told during the week. Right, it's a piss and raining game. It's a cup game. I understand people. It's a winter's game. Some people are just not arsed, and that's the truth. As much as we love Celtic, there was torrential rain earlier on, but look at it's what you make of it. And the atmosphere was quite flat. There was. I think I heard about 3 or 4 songs in the whole game, To be honest with you,
it is sad. It is sad to see though in those situations, like because you see Celtic Park filled every week. Obviously, the section 1 was obviously going to be closed because of the pyro controversy, whatever it was. But you still see like people watching these games and then they're not at the games and like you're a season ticket hole or whatever. Like I know. Like I'm not one to judge because I'm not a season ticket holder myself. Like, but you just see them like that they're not there, and they could be a couple of minutes up the road. But again, they go to a league game, no problem. It's weird to see like you see them there for a league game, which won't see them for
Danny,
a league
I'm not
game,
trying to sound, not trying to. At the end of the day, it's been full house for all the rest of the season.
But again, so if that was against Hibs or that was against Hearts, you would have seen a full stadium, you know.
Don't know. The weather was a bit shitty. Like some people were just probably just.
Come here. Like, the weather's been terrible in a lot of. You were at the Fair and Barras game on a Tuesday afternoon, and the weather was terrible.
Let's go back to that Inverness game where Lenny was kicking the puddles. Remember that?
I tell you, we've had our bad games. We've had our like weather doesn't give an excuse, like you know.
That's it. Well, okay. The game is done and dusted. The attendance was the attendance. There's no point moaning about it. We're going to have more of a busy attendance on Thursday night. I'll be there. You'll see me in my lollipop suit. Well, I'll be there anyway. Looking forward to it. As I said, this is my first game back since local glass regions can't afford season tickets. I don't know about that now, but yeah, I get grief and I say getting a trip to Glasgow is quite expensive. We're looking at about £300 to £400 for a weekend, and people are like, but it's only literally down the road for you, you know, walk or get a taxi and whatever, you know. But look, what it is, what it is. Like people don't understand. You can't come over for every fucking game. It's expensive. It's an expensive thing. I wouldn't do a day trip and come to Celtic. I'd come over for the 2 or 3 days, meet my family, meet my friends, and get the game in. It's like a mini holiday, like what I'm doing now. Tomorrow night I'm flying over, and I'm coming back on Friday night.
You know, it is a hard thing to get over as well. Like obviously, but like, when I hear talk about that one, when you get to the game, like it costs you 50 quid for flights one day, costs you 120 quid flights for the next day. Like the lads that I'm with there today were already planning on getting the ferry over. There was 16 of us, and it's cost like 60 quid the ferry. So like it's no matter how you get to the game, it's just a matter of getting there. To be honest, Keith.
How do you feel about being a bronze YouTuber? Keep well done, mate, and truly deserved. Look, at the end of the day, it's what I put out is what I put out. It's what you react to it. I appreciate everyone watching the content. And if you're on Facebook, please, I pinned a link in the comments there on that video. Click that link, subscribe if you can. Looking forward to just keep doing content, and I'll appreciate the likes of Gaz and Mick coming on. We're gonna get a few guests in the next couple of months. I'm gonna try to get someone on every week, someone different. That's the plan. You know, just move to Glasgow. You're sorry. I can't. I have family things to take care of, man. If I could move tomorrow, I would. I'd be over there. I'll have a season ticket holder, but I'm not. It's no point. That is why this channel's there. This is why I have to look from the couch and see what's going on and give my view about it. But we're going to talk about Thursday before Mick goes. We have 12 minutes left. About 12 minutes. Are you optimistic about Thursday?
I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. Obviously, we know the type of football we can play. Like you've seen the stats, we're one of the top teams in Europe, or actually top teams in the world with the passing that we have as well, like the most completed passes and everything. So, and even with the style of play, we play like the pass and move, and playing against a team that plays 11 people behind the ball. We can put this into European football and see how it goes. Now with Bolo Glimt, they're in pre-season. Our league's over. They are the Norwegian champions. 6
key players they've sold as well.
Yeah, well, come here. It does. I'm not taking that as for granted, whatever. But they're still in pre-season. We have
the champions of Norway as well. Like people forget that.
But we have a good opportunity against them at the minute. The way they are at the minute, they're in pre-season. They're not in a full swing or anything like that. Like the way we are. I'm not going to say that I think we're going to be pushing these guys aside. They have hammered Roma 6-0 or 6-1, whatever it was.
6-1,
they're not a team to be taken lightly. They definitely aren't.
But they didn't lose. They didn't lose a game in the group, I don't think.
I don't think they did either. No, but
No,
they're definitely not a
I
team to
don't
be
think they
taken
actually
lightly.
drew. I think they drew. Did they drew against Roma? They draw. They got the draw against Roma, and then they hammered Roma.
I think it was 2-2 and then 6-1 or something like that. I think that's the way it was. But I'm really hoping that I know you're completely against the Keith, but I want to see us perform in this competition. I think it's where we're at the minute for European football, because we're not good enough to win the Europa League. We're definitely not, and we're far beyond winning the Champions League. There's no chance we'll ever win that for a long, long time. But I think this is where our standards lie at the minute. Obviously, our league is good enough to get straight into Champions League next year, but we still have to grow on that. At the minute, the way we stand, we'd be like your typical your Anderlecht or your Basel or something like that to get in or straight into the Champions League. That's where we're at the minute. You'd be expected to be the whipping boys of that league and get into the Europa League and give a challenge maybe in that. I think the Conference League is something that we can actually go for, because it's European experience. We're playing against teams that we've no idea about. We're playing different football the whole time, and there is good teams in that competition as well. Obviously, the prize money is terrible. It's not something that you'd be eyeing up as well the whole time, but it's still something to play for. It's European competition. It's like the Intertoto Cup.
Exactly, it is.
Anybody remembers that, but it's something that you'd aim to win from the way we are at the minute. Like in 2002, 2003, we were good enough to get into the UEFA Cup final, which is Europa League now. We're not at that standard just yet. Teams have gotten better. We are at the standard where we are. We're in the third division, basically, of European football.
But we should be in the second division, though, because we're unlucky to not to qualify.
But we have to get that experience. Like every time we've been in the Europa League for the last 10 years, we'll say. Well, how many times we've been in it? We've always said we can do this. We can get a good result here, and we've always been absolutely humbled. We've been embarrassed. This type of competition now that we have to be in to actually grow, to actually say, right, this is where we can actually challenge Europe again. We have to see where we can go again, and this is probably the first step. Beat these guys now Thursday night, or even over 2 legs, and see where we go. If we, I'd love to say we could win this tournament, but we have a good chance. I think we're good enough. The depth we have at the minute, the players we have at the minute, the football we play at the minute is good enough to challenge in this competition. We don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. Like at the start of the season, we saw what we did against Real Betis. We were 2-0 up in the first 20 minutes, and then we bottled that. But then we saw what happened. Then obviously as the tournament went on in the Europa League. But I seriously think going into Champions League football next year, if we win the league, which we really hope we do, this would be a good stepping stone for us playing European football and going to Champions League next year and knocking in as new boys.
As I made me point on this the last 2 or 3 nights, I don't really give a shit about the Conference League, to be honest, because as much as I know I've got a ticket to come over because I don't only get midweek games in. Look, it's a learning curve. Yes, I agree with you there. But at the same time, we need to win this league, and there's only so much games you can compete in, and Ange is not going to change the system around. He's going to rotate the squad, and I just have to fear that the Conference League, if we go all out for the Conference League, like we're going for the league and the Scottish Cup, I think there's going to be an error on one trophy, and that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there on that one as well. But you think about this, right? If we,
it's only 5 million. It's only 5 million. You want to win the league.
Think about it this way, right? Never mind the prize money, right? Take the prize money. The prize money.
It's the Champions League football we need next season as a club.
Take prize money out, right? Prize money doesn't exist for a second, right? You go into this this competition, right? And we do really, really well, right? Say if we didn't even get into this round, right? Say if we were knocked out in the Europa League and we weren't even in European football after Christmas, right? We went on.
I actually would have been delighted more, to be honest, because at least
I agree with that. I get what you're saying. But if we went into win the league, Champions League football, right, and these lads have very little European football experience. Think about it that way, right? Say if we win the league and we go far in this Conference League, it's given these lads the experience of having to travel from Glasgow to, we'll say, Narnia, because we don't know what country we're going to be going to in European football. they have to go that like on Thursday, back home on a Sunday. They have to know exactly what kind of nutrition they have to do, what kind of football they have to do, what training they have to do, what kind of teams they can be expected to face. That's what we're trying to build here. Because if you want, people say like Celtic, all right, Grant will win the league, but they always want to know if we are good enough to compete in Europe.
I'll give you a prime example. I'll give you a prime example, folks. Even though it's a season that we never forget, look at 2002, 2003. We lost the league on goal difference the last game of the season.
What did we win that season?
We won nothing, but we've won a League Cup this season, and we're in the hot seat. We're top of the league. Top of the league. I know it's only a point. We have 2 derbies to go, and people are saying, "Let's go out and win this quadruple." I love the ambition. I love the hungerness. I love the togetherness that people feel about under Ange that we could do it. I like that, but at the same time, I'm looking at the bigger side. I'm like, fuck, do we have the core players to actually go out and beat these PSVs, these Romans?
Here's one for you, Keith. Here's one for you, right? So, right, obviously, league is priority this year. I want to get the league back the whole lot, right? So, what happens next year? Do we get what happens next year? Do we say we bottle the league this year, right? We don't win 19 this year. Would you be like, geez, we could have done well in that conference league. We could have went far on that. I said next year, like if we go for the league next year, and like next year we said let's go do the quadruple next year. I say we end in the conference league. Are you going to be saying different that year? No, because you're going to be saying.
My aspects of it will be next year. If we win the league, we get Champions League football. I'd be happy with group stage football. And if we don't get European football after Christmas, it's not the end of the world. It means that the second half of the season, depends how we're doing well. If we're in the title race next season or this time next year, I'd be happy. Once we've made money off Champions League group stage football, I will be happy. Because we haven't been in the Champions League for the last 4 years.
I don't know. I think the way I get what you're saying.
I just think either way, like one of our cups.
This is a great stepping stone for us. This is a great stepping stone for us.
It's a great stepping stone that could fuck us up. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I know every game.
It could, but I still think it's competitive football, and it's something that we could easily we could capitalize on. Like. There's no team in that competition that's not beatable from our point of view. There are teams that are better than us. There's no denying that. But there's teams in that competition that we cannot beat.
So you're booking flights to Armenia, are you?
Oh no, I was already talking to the Albania
president. Albania, not Armenia.
I've already been on to the Albanian president, and me and him were in the presidential suite in that house, like so.
Drinking Dutch.
He's a Celtic fan the whole lot as well.
So, in your mind, you think we are good enough to go out and win the league and the Conference League and win every trophy?
I'm not going to say. Well, no, good enough to win the treble anyway. The Conference League, I think there's teams there that are better than us that will most likely beat us, but I don't think there's any team there that we can't come up against. That we can't compete against. Like if you're saying that it was Europa League, like it was Dortmund or Barcelona or something, that I think we'd be in trouble. There's no doubt about that at all. But with Conference League, I think we've got a good chance of competing against these times. These are the type of teams we played against in the UEFA Cup in 2002, 2003 that we can compete against.
Yeah, but that's the difference. The difference with that core squad is we had leaders all over the park. We don't have leaders all over the park with this team. We have Joe Hart. Yes, we're getting a bit of Jovanovic. We're getting a bit of CCV. We have McGregor. We had 3 badasses up front. We don't like Jack and Mac is, but the Japanese boys are not vocal just yet. Yeah. Maybe Itaguchi probably, but like we don't have Rogic yet. Some people saying that Taylor is actually vocal in the dressing room as well. But it's a different era of football. It is a competition that we could go on and do well in. But I mean do well is like last 4, last 8. But at the same time, you're playing an extra few more games in there, 2 ties.
Again, I'm not saying we're going to win it. I'm not saying we're going to win it. I'm saying we're good enough to compete with teams that are in the competition.
I just think it's the Claymore to fuck up our league. I really believe. I just think it's the Claymore fucking up our league because I think with the Scottish Cup, it's a bit different because we're used to being there. Hamilton's like a training ground. Yes, we have to play the quarter final and beat whoever we play. The draw is on tomorrow night, but I just think with the Scottish Cup, we're on home soil. We have a good chance of competing. But if you're playing the likes of anyone away, for example, Maccabi Tel Aviv are still in it. Fenerbahce are still in it. Now, they're beatable. Yes, they are beatable. Fenerbahce is beatable because they're absolutely shite this season in the Turkish league. And we didn't really do well against Israeli teams away. Like, we got beaten by fucking, I think it was Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Here's one for you. What have we got something going into European football that we haven't had in the last 3 years? We haven't had form. We have form now at the minute going into these games. And
like we were unlucky against the likes of Bayern Leverkusen away. Like we obviously took the lead.
They're one of the top teams in Europe. They should be.
They should have been playing in Champions League, exactly. But
I say we're at best.
You know, ask Jota where he would like to play next season. If we could get on to Jota,
where would you like to play next season? There you go. I just asked him.
I think it's down to we need to win the league to get him over the line. I think that's the incentive. You have Champions League football with Celtic next season. We're gonna see some attractive players coming in, especially with Ange they being there. And I think Ange he deserves the credit. I think, as I said on this channel, I think winning this league is going to be as good as winning a treble at this rate because the comeback of doing well, it'll be 2 cups. Guaranteed we have to win the League Cup. The comeback of doing well in Europe, unfortunate not to qualify for Europa knockout, winning the League Cup, winning a derby after fucking 2 years as well, but which we're going to have 2 more derbies to win, we're going to do. And the style of football we're playing, the reputation he has with the fans, and for Callum to nurture and become a good captain as he is. Yes, he's not Bruni stature, but he's came in, he's presented himself well to the media, he's presented himself well to the fans, and the players that Ange has brought in, like Kyogo's and your Jotas and your Jovanovic, they're getting to the club, they're getting to the fans, they're healing the fans' disappointment of last season, and they're bringing this new spice to Celtic. The culture of football has changed under Ange, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every moment of it. Loving every moment. Even when we dropped points,
this time last year, we weren't saying this.
Even when we dropped points against, like as I said, against Livy and Rangers and Hibs, I was like, man, for fuck's sake, don't. People are writing this man off already. Give him the season. Give him the full season. Like when I done the homework on him, I said, look, he needs 2 years. He needs 2 years to get this right. And for him to even get to this stage, it shows that's a serious fucking manager there. Serious fucking manager. And there will be, I guarantee you, if we win this league, there's going to be English teams sniffing. I won't be surprised, like the likes of fucking Newcastle or something, sniffing for a bit of Ange in the summer. Like, they're the richest team in the world, but you would not be surprised to be teams in England sniffing for
as a Celtic fan, we're used to that, and it's something that we're kind of really expected. So, come here, you said about Big Brendan as well, and he's like on the he's in the end of a disaster at the minute as well, so you can never say as a Celtic fan that we are not going to keep these managers or these players.
No, Ange. I think Ange is a 3-year manager, and I know he's on a rolling contract, but I think he's a 3-year manager. I think he's just holding his cards close to his chest with the board. He's putting plans in place with Michael Nicholson. He's scouted the J League. He's going to get random players from the likes of Iran and these places. People won't be expecting. I think he's holding his cards close. Let him see how he gets on the end of the season. Wins the league. Fucking back him to the tilt. You're going to have 40 million in there.
I'll give him a blank checkbook.
Sell your Barcass, your Dolly, whatever, for 3 million for the whole set. Sell as a 3-1, whatever you want. But he's up. It's something good's happening with him. As I said, we haven't had this love for the manager since Martin O'Neill. Martin
O'Neill's already come out and said that he's going to be more successful than his tenure at Celtic.
I'm telling you, you will, 100%. And I think, and look at the shit that look at all the shit that we're still throwing at, like saying, well, he has Kennedy there. Kennedy's still not smiling. he still has track in there. But what's the point changing them if we're winning? What's the point changing them if we're like at the end of the day? You have to give them some sort of credit. They done pre-season training with them for 2 weeks with the squad until Ange came in that door. And I remember that video when he walks in the door and he's shaking hands and the boys are at the table and I'm like, oh, why are they still fucking there? But and even when the first pre-season, you see them on the bench in Bristol, I'm like, oh Jesus! But they deserve the credit because Ange just had to give them the chance. We're winning games. They know the players more than Ange does. What's the point changing it now? The only way I change it, Mick. Let's talk about Aberdeen here for a minute. John Kennedy gets approached for the job. Let the man go. At the end of the season, if John Kennedy gets approached for the Aberdeen job, let John Kennedy go at the end of the season. There's no point changing now. Let him go at the end of the season.
As much as I'd hate to say it, like obviously there last year, like we had a lot of mixed feelings towards John Kennedy. I wouldn't want to see him go there at the minute because that backroom staff is obviously working there at the minute, as you just said. Let him go at the end of the season. That's what I'm saying. Like you put a point in place. You put a plan in place where you say, right, he's agreed a deal. He's going to go there. He's going to take over from pre-season. So at the moment, as far as I know, Barry Robson is going to be the internal manager at Aberdeen. Now there's a couple of Celtic names linked with the job. Gordon Strachan's linked with it. Neil Lennon's linked with it. Brown's linked with it. And we're going to talk about Scott Brown. I think with Scott Brown, you leave him at that club for 2 years. Let him get the coaching which he wants, and then you bring him back. There's no point in taking him back because he's Brownie. I love Brownie, but you're going to bring him back. What you bring him back to? An ambassador role? A youth role? Brownie is going for managerial role football. He's not going for youth football. He's going to learn the sticks and be a number 2. That's what Brownie wants. He doesn't want to be a youth coach. He done the youth coaching with Celtic back about 4 or 5 years ago. He has his badges there. So let him. If I love to see Kennedy go there, I love to see him go. Honestly, at the end of the season, it's no doubt that he's going to end up getting to a proper managerial job as well. Like so, like maybe
should have took the hit.
Should have took the hit. Maloney was always going to get there ahead. He's always going to get the nod. He's played under like Martinez. Not played under Martinez. He's been under Martinez's belt for a while. Like, so he was always going to get it. Like so, Kennedy. He's had a couple of 3 months as
Kennedy has been the number 2 at Celtic 6 years. Mick, 6 fucking years.
That's no choice to the manager, though, Keith. That's no choice to the manager.
Yeah, but that's to show that he's doing something good in the background. As much as I've slandered him and you've slandered him and we've moaned about him not smiling, and he's obviously doing something good. And Brendan Rodgers even came out and said it, as much as we all don't like mentioning that name. He has rated, like Damien Duff highly rates John Kennedy, highly rates him.
Look, see what he can do. If he wants to go and he wants to go for the job, then obviously he's. I hope he takes it. Like it's completely up to himself. But I don't think he's going to take it before the end of the season. I think he wants another medal over his shoulders before he does anything else.
I seen a bit of the interview. I'm going to try to get Alan Thompson onto my podcast. I'm going to have a chat and see can we get him and Jamie on. Obviously, I have his book. I haven't read it just yet, but I have his book and I'm going to give it a read because I've watched a few podcasts. He's done one with Axon and he's done one with James English. James English is brilliant. I never knew about this going into last week. And I started watching these podcasts. They're bleeding brilliant. Where have I been hiding? It's as bad as Joe Rogan at this rate, me hiding. but like, yeah, you will go. I think you will go. But if Aberdeen come in now and start saying we need him now straight away, I'd be like, nope. Wait until the end of the season.
Yeah, but nobody wants to work for Aberdeen at the
minute. If you said last season, I would have literally drove him there. That's it. Like he's been at the club a long time, and as much as like he must have something good about him. If Brendan, if Ronnie, if Lennon, and if Ange had him, 4 managers in the space of 6 years, or 7 years.
I just think there's a lot of backroom working on there as well. To be honest, I think managers are coming in and they're told this is your backroom staff. This is what you have to work with. Like Ange wasn't given his chance to pick a backroom staff either. So, I think it was just a situation that he had to deal with it, which I don't agree with, to be honest. Like obviously, I know we said about Eddie Howe the whole lot. He didn't go because he didn't bring his own backroom staff. Andrews brought this. I suppose it's kind of more man management more than anything. Like how you deal with these guys. Like Ange walked in, and we were all giving out about this backroom staff for a long time, and all of a sudden he's made these guys do wonders. So there's obviously something that they can actually can work with people. Maybe it was the person that was in charge of them before. It's obviously man management obviously goes more than just on the pitch. It obviously goes behind the scenes as well. Like so obviously what Ange's done there with these guys has obviously worked. So
definitely. Now I wouldn't rule out Martin O'Neill, to be honest. Martin O'Neill loves a comment on my Instagram page. He does. He likes a rare comment there and then, some random photos. Martin follows the page, so I wouldn't rule Martin out. I wouldn't rule it out. To be honest,
I've seen Eddie Howe commenting there a few minutes ago. So.
that's his cousin. That's his cousin. He's always in. Great show tonight, lads. Very enjoyable. That's what I said. We just speak bold out straight. Like we're not going to keep everyone happy, but I would like to get Hearts in the next round.
Again, I don't care who we get. To be honest, like we're going to have to change again, no matter who we get. Like there's a good chance we get Rangers. There's a good chance we get Hearts. You want to get it. You'd love to get a decent side at home to knock them out before we get to Hampden, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't say get Big Bad John. I can ask Big Bad John. You know, I have connections with Big Bad John. I'm gonna try to get Johan on. I'm not promising anything, but Johan is the one I'm gonna try to get Paul Bourne on as well. That scored against Rangers at Ironbox. That cracking goal as well. He said he's up for it. So look at folks.
Henrik Larsson was on a bit coming on a while ago, wasn't
he? Jesus Christ, going too far now. We are. But yeah, look at. I'm going to talk about Brownie. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with Scott Brown?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Like he's in player manager role. Is he going to be kept? Obviously, he's going to be kept on there for the rest of the season. Because
100%. I think he has a 2-year contract. To be honest with you.
Yeah, he's the club captain there, like but he was signed on as a player coach, so he's obviously now his player coach role is probably just turned into a player role. There must be something in his contract says if the manager gets sacked, you just become a player.
I like Paul Caddis. I actually met Paul Caddis when we first ever Celtic game. He's a nice guy.
I don't think Brian is going to be back at Celtic for a while. Anyway, I can't see him back for a long time. You talk about 10 years, to be honest, before he's get back.
I would take Hibs. I like our games with them. That's not a bad point. You know, Hatate would run amok. You know, run amok. So I was laughing. Brownie, as long as he stays away from Celtic and does what he wants. I'd like to see him back.
But as long as it's not for 10 years, I'm in the same kind of mindset as Stephen there. Like, it'd be 10 years before I expect to see him back. You don't want to see him come back. What's he going?
Scott Brown will be the gaffer of Celtic, and Kieran Tierney will be. Kieran Tierney's going to be number 2. I fucking put my.
Kieran Tierney is going to be number 2 in 10 years' time. Kieran Tierney is well away. He won't add another 10 years onto that before Kieran Tierney's number 2. To be honest,
Tierney's going to be finished his career in the next 5 years. Barkley Ward, his injuries to fuck them up. But I want him to
be away to Real Madrid.
Yeah, he's gone to Real Madrid, and I know there's people on this channel. They'll be like, "Oh well, you just don't pick who he should go to." It's opinion. It's opinion. It's not like you're his agent. It's speculation. It's opinion. If it's gonna benefit the club and get us money, sure fucking right. And if it's gonna get us Jota and Carter Vickers out of money, sure fucking right. I can say what I want to say. What do you think? Would you obviously like to see him go to Barcelona, but if Real Madrid take him, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, but come here, like, if you wouldn't know what Arsenal's going to do, to be honest. Like, their business is all over the place as well. So, if they're going to do get Tierney, it's handy couple of quid for us, isn't it?
But he's that type of player. Even when you got Pro through, you knew he's going to go to the highest level. Like he's quality. Like, you know, he really is quality. It's just his injuries kill him. And I know Arteta's came out and said, if I had 11 Kieran Tierney's, would we be winning Premier League? You know, that's what the type of player we need, the type of hunger and all. But, like, you know, Real Madrid, you know, it's Champions League football for him. He's not guaranteed that on Arsenal. Like, just let him go there. Let him do 3 years, and then we'll start talking and we'll start mentioning these famous words, you know. But let's say, like, folks, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I know it's all, as I said, it's all speculation, but that's a story that broke on Friday morning that Real Madrid are fishing around for Tierney. As I said, I don't know if Arsenal will let him go. He only signed a contract there literally 6 months ago to 2025, I think. So
yeah. So again, like, he's still not. You don't know what way he's going to be. Like, he hasn't played a full season for Arsenal either. Like, so you just don't know what way he's going to be. Like
23 games or something. I think he played one season.
Probably. So, but come here. If he signs for Real Madrid, it suits me.
Don't know what that is. That looks like bleeding. I thought it was a rip in my top. Something stuck to my top. Subscribe days ago. Tierney needs to go on from Arsenal. Real would be interesting. I think he'd be like a Gareth Bale at Real Madrid, to be honest with you. I really think he would. I think he'd terrorise that league. He would, Tierney.
No, he has the caliber to do it. Like so.
He will be a real captain. Money talks, Madrid bounce. That's it. I just said, let him go to Madrid. I know there's gobshites on this that get upset and get real like, I don't want to go to Real Madrid. I want to go to Barcelona. Fucking money for Celtic. Let him go. He's not. It's at the end of the day, he's left Celtic. If we're getting a 15% sell-on clause for him moving, take it. Like, look at when Van Dijk went 12 million. Celtic got from Van Dijk. 12 million from, so we sold him for 12 million to Aston, or to not Aston, but to Southampton, and then when Liverpool sold him from Southampton, we got 12.5 million as well on top of that.
Yep. So for this one, we'd be looking at what if you signed for 50 million.
I'll be ringing Arsenal up and saying, look, milk that. Try get 60 million. Try get 65 million.
Get as much as you can. Yeah, as much as you can.
Yeah, so we can get more Bob over,
Absolutely.
It's the money that Jota and Carter. Exactly, John. Exactly. I completely agree with you. But look, folks, we're gonna leave it there. It was a pleasure, everyone coming on. Please do me a favor at the end of the video. I say this all the time. There's a share button. There's a thumbs up button. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, just give it a share. And tell your friends about it and say, look, there's two mad eggs that do podcasts. They like us, they don't like us. Simple as that. At the end of the day, if we get 70 million, oh Jesus, I'll be loving it. I'll be loving it. I'll actually drink Buckfast if we get 70 million. And I don't like Buckfast. I only drank it once, and it's minging.
Hey, that's blasphemy.
It's minging. It's absolutely minging. It is. Bucky are that. Yeah. So as I said, pleasure. Share. Tell a friend about it. And I don't know about the Super Bowl, to be honest with you.
We're on the Bengals. It's basically the world against the Bengals tonight. The first time underdogs, the world against the Bengals. So let's up the oranges.
That's it, Willie. Well, look at if Celtic, I tell you what, if Celtic off the Tierney deal, if Celtic make 16 million off the Tierney deal, 16 million on a sell-on clause, I'll drink Buckfast on one of the lives. I'll drink a full bottle.
I'll oversee that as well.
I'll drink a full bottle of Buckfast. I know you will. You drink it before them. But I'll drink a full bottle of Buckfast, and I can't stand that stuff. I'll drink it. Right? So, William, you need to get on to Arsenal Football Club. Get on and see what you can do. So, yeah. Look, folks, I'll speak to you all soon. Good night, God bless. Good result today. And it was a shit performance the first half. We're into the cup, and we'll see Rod Stewart go picking out the old names. we're into the next round.
Cheers, William.
A pleasure speaking to you.